All right, good afternoon. We'll actually start off with some news. Get your pens ready. At the invitation of President Volodymyr Zelinskyy of Ukraine, the Secretary General will be in Lviv on Thursday to attend a trilateral meeting with President Recep Tayyip Erdogan of Turkïye and the Ukrainian leader. The Secretary General will then go on to Odesa the next day, where he will visit the port that is one of the three being used as part of the Black Sea Grain Initiative. Before returning to New York over the weekend, the Secretary General will be in Istanbul to visit the Joint Coordination Center set up to implement the initiative. As you will all recall, this initiative is part of a deal that also includes the facilitation of Russian grain and fertilizer exports onto the global market. Linked to that initiative, the first maritime shipment of Ukrainian wheat for humanitarian operation run by the United Nations World Food Program left Ukraine today. It is another important milestone in efforts to get much-needed Ukrainian grain out of the conflict-hit country back onto the global markets and to countries most affected by the global food crisis. The shipment of 23,000 metric tons of wheat will go to WFP's humanitarian response in the Horn of Africa, where the threat of famine stalks the drought-hit region. It is one of many areas around the world where near complete halt of Ukrainian grain and food import on the global market has made life even harder for families already struggling with rising hunger. According to the World Food Program, a record 345 million people in 82 countries are now facing acute food insecurity, while up to 50 million people in 45 countries are right on the edge of famine and risk being tipped over without humanitarian support. The World Food Program notes that with commercial and humanitarian maritime traffic now resuming in and out of the Black Sea ports, Ukraine's Black Sea ports, some global supply disruptions will ease with relief for countries facing the worst of the global food crisis. Crucially, WFP says it will allow Ukraine to empty its grain storage silos ahead of the summer season harvest. WFP says that despite these positive developments, the world still faces an unprecedented food crisis. They stress that immediate action is needed to bring together humanitarian community, governments, and the private sector to save lives and invest in long-term solutions. On Kenya, I just want to flag to you that a very short while ago, the Secretary General spoke by phone with William Ruto, and will try to speak with Raila Odinga tomorrow based on Mr. Odinga's own availability. The Secretary General expressed his admiration for the way the Kenyans conducted these elections and hopes the process is concluded soon within the existing constitutional and legal framework. Today, the Secretary General has appointed 10 high-level and eminent persons to serve on the inaugural Internet Governance Forum Leadership Panel. In line with the mandate of the Internet Governance Forum, it has, as recommended in the Secretary General's roadmap for digital cooperation, he has established the panel as a strategic, empowered, and multi-stakeholder body to support and strengthen Internet Governance Forum. The panel will address strategic and urgent issues and highlight forum discussions and possible follow-up actions. The list of the 10 distinguished members on the panel and 5 ex officio members are available in a press release that is being released right now. Excuse me, the internet always does that to me. Turning to Myanmar, you will have seen that yesterday we issued a press release saying that the Special Envoy of the Secretary General for Myanmar, Nolene Heiser, traveled yesterday to that country, following up on the latest call from the Secretary General, from the Security Council for an immediate cessation of all forms of violence and unimpeded humanitarian access to all those in need. She will focus on addressing the deteriorating situation and immediate concerns, as well as other priority areas of her mandate. The Special Envoy's visit follows her extensive consultations with people from across the political spectrum, civil society, as well as communities impacted by the ongoing conflict. And an update from Mali, where UN peacekeeping troop rotations resumed yesterday with a contingent from Bangladesh. Some 400 soldiers from Senegal are also slated to rotate soon. We welcome the coordination efforts between the Malian transitional government and our peacekeeping mission. We are also grateful for the more than 60 troop and police contributing countries for their continued and commitment to peace in Mali. And the UN peacekeeping force in the Democratic Republic of the Congo reports that it evacuated 16 civilians who were seriously wounded during an attack carried out by Zaire militia in the Damas area in Ituri province. The civilians were airlifted by helicopters to Bunia at the request of the provincial authorities. The mission reiterates its determination to continue delivering on the protection of civilians mandate in support of the Congolese authorities. And we have an update from our team in Cuba, led by the resident coordinator, Consuelo Vidal, as they continue engaging with the government and partners to support needs following the multiple explosions of fuel tanks in the provinces of Matanza 9 days ago. The UN team is gearing efforts to provide water treatment plants and pumps as well as health supplies. We've also offered expertise to assess the possible environmental damage and impacts of the economy and services offered to the local population. And one note to you, an interesting event took place in the Swiss capital of Bern. The president of the Swiss Confederation, Ignacio Cassis, and the Minister of Justice of Uzbekistan, Ruslanbek Davletov, signed an agreement on the restitution of funds to be returned to the people of Uzbekistan through a UN-managed trust fund to support the ongoing work of the Sustainable Development Goals in the Central Asian countries. The funding will arrive in Uzbekistan in multiple tranches. At present, some $131 million are ready to be returned. The money will be channeled through the UN's Multi-Partnership Office Gateway Fund, and it is part of a partnership between our UN team on the ground in Uzbekistan, led by Resident Coordinator Roli Astana, and the government of Uzbekistan. At the event in Bern today, Ms. Astana welcomed both countries' initiative, saying the UN is committed to helping ensure that the resources are used to strengthen public trust by providing tangible and sustainable benefits and improvements to the lives of the people of Uzbekistan. And lastly, today marks 5 years since the Minamata Convention on Mercury entered into force. The convention protects human health and environment from the adverse effects of mercury. Mercury's toxicity devastated the fishing village of Minamata Bay in Japan in the middle of the 20th century, and as a result, government took action and adopted the convention in 2013, and it entered into force 5 years ago. The UN Environment Program administers the agreement, which has 137 parties. Its provisions include a ban on new mercury mines and the phase-out of mercury use in a number of products. Edie.
Thank you very much, Steph. A couple of questions on follow-ups to the Secretary General's travels to Ukraine. Can you tell us what the purpose of the meeting with President Zelinskyy and President Erdogan is?
It's at the invitation of President Zelinskyy. Obviously, part of it will be to review the grain, the workings of the Black Sea Grain Initiative, which Turkey is a critical part of. And obviously, we do expect a bilateral meeting between the Secretary General and President Zelinskyy at some point. Some of those details are still being worked out.
Do you expect the situation at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant to be raised? And also, well, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't want to preempt your question.
And is there any possible talk about a possible ceasefire talks, peace agreement in those discussions?
I mean, there will be obviously there are a number of issues that will be raised. The conflict in general, the need for a political solution to this conflict. Obviously, I have no doubt that the issue of the nuclear power plant, the fact-finding mission, and others will be raised. On the power plant, I mean, there's been no change, though, as in our position, as stated yesterday, that it is that we were there to support the IAEA implementation of its mandate, and we're ready to support it logistically and security-wise from Kyiv.
And a follow-up, has there been any word from the IAEA on their plans?
No, I think you need to ask them. Betul.
I can just follow up on the SG's visit. How long does he plan to stay in Ukraine, and when does he plan to be in Turkey? And during his visit in Istanbul, does he plan to meet the president of Turkey?
He will see the president. He will see the president in Lviv. He'll see President Erdogan in Lviv as part of the trilateral meeting. The focus of the stay in Turkey, which will be rather short, in Istanbul, is the visit to the Joint Coordination Center, and then whether or not we have other bilateral meetings in Istanbul, that is still has to be fleshed out.
And
that
can
will be
you
Saturday.
tell me when?
Saturday.
Oh, Saturday. Thanks.
Benno.
Thank you, Steph. Also, follow up to the travel announcement. You said part of it will be to review the grain exports and their working, but there was a fourth party to that deal, which is Russia, and they are not there. Is that not a problem?
Well,
if you review it with just two leaders?
The Secretary General had a very good conversation with the Minister of Defense of Russian Federation yesterday, Mr. Shoigu, in which those discussions were also touched upon the Black Sea Grain Initiative, as well as the other part of the deal, which is the facilitation of Russian grain and fertilizer onto the global market. Edward.
Yeah, so a follow-up on the readout of the phone call with Shoigu. Can you tell us how long has the Secretary General have been talked with the Defense Minister on that phone, and which is the main topic? Because you listed like 3 different topics: the nuclear plant, the Black Sea Grain Initiative, as well as I kind of forgot the other one. Sorry. Oh yeah, the fact-finding mission in relation of the prison.
I mean, it's an extremely valid question, but I'm not going to go into timing, detailed word count on those, which issue had more time, which one had less. All of these are very important. They're all part of the broader issue of the war that's going on in Ukraine.
And may I add another question also concerning the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, because yesterday the Russian side expressed their concern about safety issue if they want to cross let's say from Kyiv to cross the front line to the nuclear plant. And yesterday, during the phone call, has the Secretary General talked about this issue with the Defense Minister?
Look, the Secretary General is not in the lead in negotiating the implementation of the IAEA's mandate, right? That is their responsibility. They're an independent, specialized agency. It's not for us to tell them what to do and what not to do. The point of our message is that we are here to help. We can help them logistically, security-wise, coming from Kyiv. Right.
Thank you, Stéphane. According to the Libyan PR, Mr. Tahar Senni, none of the Security Council members objected to the designation of the Senegalese diplomat Abdoulaye Bitali as a special representative in Libya. So, except that the Libyan government that he represents has an objection on this appointment. My question is the Secretary General obliged to take into consideration this objection and reservation, or is it just the security members' position?
There is a process of consultation that took place. There's a process of consultation that is ongoing. Once that's finished, we will make the announcement. We make an announcement officially. Edie.
Thank you. One follow-up on the Secretary General's visit to the Joint center in Istanbul. Will the new head of the center
It's a good question.
there?
I was asking myself that question. I don't know if he will be there yet. Either he will be there or Fred Kenny will receive the Secretary General.
And is there any update on what Nolin Heiser has been doing in Myanmar today?
No, the visit's ongoing. She will issue I think, an extensive readout and release after her visit, but we're not, we're not saying what she's doing now, and frankly, I don't know, which is probably the better answer. Benno.
I would like to follow up on Edward's question about Russia saying it might be very hard to cross front lines. I know you're not dealing with that directly, but can you tell me, didn't you end personal cross front lines in this conflict before? For example, Avostal or something else. It doesn't sound to me like something totally new.
Let's look at the facts. The facts that you stated are correct, right? We helped coordinate with the ICRC a very delicate operation that crossed lines between when we evacuated civilians from the Azovstal plant. We've had, since the beginning of this conflict back in 2014, there were a number of humanitarian convoys that crossed if I'm not mistaken, it is the line of contact in the east to deliver humanitarian aid. So those are facts. The fact is that it is also an active war zone. So all those facts are true. All those things have to be worked through with the parties. You obviously, it's an obvious statement to make, but you're not going to cross front lines without the agreement of both parties. Yes, sir.
I have a question on the Secretary General's visit to Ukraine. He arrives in addition to the meetings, is he planning to visit somewhere in Ukraine? Because he arrives in Ukraine on Thursday and arrives in
So he will be in
Saturday.
Lviv on Thursday, and he will be the next day, he will be in Odessa, and then the next day he will be in Istanbul.
Okay.
There may be, to say that this visit is a work in progress would be a true statement. So there may be changes here and there on locations, but the ones I have announced are confirmed. Mr. Bulcati.
Very much appreciate. I have a short follow-up, Stéphane, regarding the Benno's question on safety. As he mentioned, Russian side says that it's pretty unsafe to cross contact line while going via Kiev to visit this Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Is the UN ready to facilitate the other route, for example, from Russian territory?
I think my statement yesterday was very clear, that we are willing and able to help the IAEA in any way we can, and we have the logistics and security. We have the logistics and security apparatus to do that from Kyiv. Okay. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name's Luke. I'm from the Times of Israel. I wanted to ask about Sarah Muscroft, who was removed from her post after criticizing Islamic Jihad. Israel has asked that she be reinstated. Does the Secretary General have any intention to get involved?
She was not let go in any way, shape, or form. Her location of work has been changed, and that's a decision taken by our humanitarian affairs colleagues.
And she will stay there?
She's being reassigned to a different post. I don't know what that post yet is.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I also wanted to ask if the Secretary General supports Palestine's push for statehood recognition at the General Assembly?
As you know, the issue of who gets to be a member state is one for member states themselves to decide. the Secretary General's own position on encouraging the parties to move to a two-state solution has been repeated often, but the issue of actual membership to this organization and the status of your membership is one the member states, it's a decision for member states to make.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You want to try me one more time? Go ahead.
Yes, sorry, Steph. I just kind of want to know what will the Secretary General going to do in Odessa?
He will. I mean, it's a chance for him
To see
to see firsthand the results of an initiative that he first presented when he went to Moscow and then went to Kyiv in April, right? An initiative that is so critically important to hundreds of millions of people, that is part of a bigger package, which includes the export of Russian grain and fertilizer to market. So there you go. All right.
May I?
Go ahead,
Sorry.
Benno.
Just another follow-up to the to the travel. I mean, like, Lviv is in the west of the country very much. Odessa is obviously very much more under heat in the conflict, I guess. You told the Russian authorities that the SG will travel there. And
Well,
then my
we just announced it publicly, and two of your colleagues in the Russian media are here, so.
Okay.
But
Second question.
as much as we love Gregory and Alan, we have, all of that has also been communicated to the Russian authorities.
And then just one last one. From Odessa to Istanbul, how will the SG travel? I guess not by ship, but...
No, not by ship, but for security reasons, and since I will also be on the delegation, I will not give you details of our transportation. Yes, sir.
Will the Secretary General be meeting with any Russian envoys or officials at the JCC? I guess.
Well, I mean, if he goes to the JCC, he will obviously see all the delegations, which includes our own, the Turkish delegation, the Russian delegation, and the Ukrainian delegation. And I have to say, all the reports we've been getting is that the representatives of all the member states, I mean, the Russians and the Ukrainians, and obviously, of course, the Turks, have been working in an extremely, extremely professional manner. And, I mean, we've seen all these joint inspections that any one country could object to have gone through. And I think it shows a lot of good faith on the part of the parties. Hasta la vista, Fahan will have the con for the next few days.
Stéphane, I have hello.
Iftikhar, sorry, Iftikhar. Go ahead.
Thank you, Steph. You obliquely hinted about some other possibilities during the Secretary General's trip to Ukraine. Is there any possibility of him making a side trip to Moscow?
No, the trip as it is being planned now will take us to Ukraine and to Turkey.
And Steph, when do we expect an announcement regarding the next UN High Commissioner for Human Rights?
When it's ready. Thank you.